Hey guys, Wolvie here and welcome back to the channel. As always, the usual disclaimer. Any opinion here is mine and mine alone. So this is part 2 of the mini-series where I go over, my 3 builds. Raiden, Odin, and Deadpool, go over the MSRP for each build in the sense of if you were to replicate any one of those builds now, what are you expected to pay? So the reason why this is a mini series, and I very much forgot to mention this in part 1 with Deadpool, is because first half is going to be what you're paying now. The other half is going to be if I were to update any of the components in the future, what direction would I go? And this is for the reason that, believe it or not, each of these builds has its own unique purpose, if that makes any sense. So for part 2, this is going to be Raiden, and this is the gaming only PC. Now, granted, I could have gone the Intel route in sense of the platform for Raiden, but due to my personal experience with using Intel, I decided to go with AMD for that particular build. Now, for those of you wondering which one is Raiden, it is this particular build right here. This is this build does have a CPU air cooler. It is unlike Odin, although Deadpool is also an air cooler build as well. So this is the overall specs you see here. I'm going to go over an estimate of the manufacturer's suggested retail price for each component, or MSRP. Now, there is going to be some price fluctuation like Deadpool, because with certain components, some prices may be higher now than what I paid, or it may be lower than what I paid. And I'm going to do some, so that way you don't have to be transparent on all of it, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to go over the fans that are inside the cooler, and I'm excluding the CPU cooler here, because I'm going to get to that later. But for each of the 6 fans you see here inside Raiden, it is by Cooler Master. It is a 120 millimeter for each of them. It is around 120 United States dollars. Now, before I go any further, and just to a bit of a friendly reiteration, all the currency I'm going to be revealing here is going to be in United States dollars, which is my currency. Now I am going to reveal here the cooler that's inside Raiden that you guys have seen. This is by Noctua, and you notice in Raiden in particular. Let me go here real quick. For Raiden, I do have an extra fan with the cooler, and that extra fan is by Noctua. Now, what I had to do with the Noctua cooler you see here, and after buying the extra fan, I actually bought a 2-way splitter, so that way both fans could be working with the could be seen, recognized, and performing on the motherboard. Now, the combined total with the cooler and the extra fan, it is around $105. And like I said towards the beginning of this video, the financial numbers here are United States currencies. Just a bit of a heads up. So whatever you're paying in another country might be higher in the sense of the numbers or lower. Just a bit of a friendly heads up. Now for the power supply unit, this is the EVGA Supernova G5 850 watt power supply. You did see that clear as day in Raiden. I am going through my notebook right now. Let me see if I can grab it. And for the notebook where I keep notes for majority of my YouTube content, it's in here. And oddly enough, I'm most of the way done with it. So for the power supply, I am looking at my numbers now. Just give me a moment. It is, let me grab it. Okay, so now I have the number. So it's around $170. It's 170. Because sometimes when I say 70, sometimes it sounded like 17. So just a bit of a disclaimer on that as well. So it's 170 United States dollars for the power supply unit. Now, this is the case that I have everything for Raiden in. This is the InWin 216. This is a mid-tower chases. This actually ran me $90. That's 90. Now, I went with this case because it's one of those that doesn't burn a hole in the wallet, but it does the job. And when I was first building both Raiden and Odin, I was going with as certain aspects for InWin for like the parts. But it's just like, when it came to, when I was building Odin, I do want to reveal here that, Odin was like, it was giving me so much difficulty in the sense of like, something, you know, about to break, or something not fitting. I had to go through so many parts. But when it came to like the InWin era of what I was using, this particular chassis for Raiden is very much what survived. And again, like I said, this is $90. If you're in the US, and this is the 216. This does have the capabilities to like run like 360 in the front, 240 at top, and 120 in the rear. But like I said, for Raiden, I did have this in an air cooler situation. Now for the graphics card. Now, I do have this particular model. This is, oh shoot. Now, actually, just take this image with a grain of salt. So I'm going to do a disclaimer. Now, this particular image, this is not the 3060 Ti that's in Raiden. This image is the 3070 Ti, but the graphics card is in fact the EVGA for the Win 3 graphics card, and that MSRP is about $540. That's 540. That's quote unquote MSRP like for this particular card, and that's mainly because you're talking about a partner like card for NVIDIA. And I do want to mention here that I am aware that EVGA is no longer making graphics cards for NVIDIA. I am aware of that situation, and it's something I will not address, and that's mainly because it's already been addressed. But it's like, in addition, there's just too much he said, she said. I'm not going to go into anything that will give me a migraine headache. So the MSRP for this particular graphics card is about $540 United States. However, if you're looking at NVIDIA's proper MSRP for this very graphics card, it is 400 United States dollars. However, I'm going to go with the 540 for the reason being it's not a NVIDIA Founders Edition graphics card, but it's a partner graphics card instead, where the MSRP for partners cards, in my personal opinion, being higher than NVIDIA and the AMD equivalent. Now to the storage on Raiden. Now, I'm going to give like a bit of a price range for certain aspects here. And like I said for Deadpool, the final numbers you're going to see for Raiden, it is 100% estimate because I am excluding tax. And if this build were to be completely replicated, you could be paying a much different price. But you have to translate the United States currency into your respective currency if you're outside of the US. Now, for some of the SATA 3 solid state drives that I do have in Raiden, I actually have 6 total of this particular type, the Samsung 870 EVO. However, I have 2 of these at the 500 gigabyte capacity and the other 4 at 1 terabyte apiece. Now so I'm going to go over, again, these are just estimates, so don't take the numbers here personally, if that makes any sense. So for the 2 500 gigabytes, I want to say here, let me grab my numbers. So for the 2, so it's going to be $50 per 500 gigabyte SATA 3 SSD drive for this particular type. So that's a grand total of $100. And the other 4, it's $102. And by the other 4, they're the ones that are at 1 terabyte apiece. So you're looking at a grand total of $508 for all 6 SATA 3 SSD drives. That's not all the storage that Raiden has, because I have two of these. The SSD 980. This is not the 980 Pro, mind you, but this is the regular 980 from Samsung. It is 1 terabyte piece. I have two of these inside the motherboard itself, and these run 110 United States dollars. So it's a grand total of 220 in that regard. So you're taking the 508 and the 220. You're talking for a grand total for storage is at $708. 708. Now for the CPU, it is the AMD Ryzen 7 5800X. Now this is where the greatest fluctuation will come to play. Now the MSRP for around the time that I purchased this was around $450. However, the MSRP is slated to be around closer to $200. And again, that's United States currency, because some people don't have the world's best memory in sense of what type of currency I'm explaining. So that way I get to repeat myself as many times as necessary. That's just me though. So there is a great price fluctuation with the CPU. So the numbers I'm going to reveal at the end for the grand total is going to reflect that fluctuation. For the memory in Raiden, this is the exact color and type I have for the memory. This is the Corsair Vengeance LPX. This is a low profile. I do have a 32 gigabyte memory kit in it. And for that, it is 108 United States dollars. For the motherboard in Raiden, I think this might be the last. So once I get done with this component, I will pause the video to make sure I did not miss a thing. Now this is the Asus ROG Strix X570F motherboard. Don't get it confused with the E variant. This is the F variant. Now there are some key differences between the E variant and the F variant of this specific motherboard. Now, I paid around 320 United States dollars for this particular motherboard, and one of the key differences this motherboard has as opposed to the E variant is that the F variant lacks the built-in Wi-Fi. Which, for that reason alone, I will include the Wi-Fi card should you need it to connect to the internet via Wi-Fi. But again, this is $320. Okay, so there are a couple of things I did forget here. So first and foremost, I do want to address, and I'm going to have to zoom in here. And like I said, just a short while ago, I have a Wi-Fi card in here, and that's for those of you who know me really well. My modem is too far away from where my main streaming area setup is, and that area isn't in progress. So where this build is too far away from the modem to really get an Ethernet cable going safely. But this is the Wi-Fi card in question. This is a TP-Link. The MSRP for this is $40. That's 40. Now I'm going to go over here to the my little guy right here. That's the GPU support bracket. Now I'm going to reveal here that this, alongside the figurine here, these two items I will not include in the price, because when it comes to certain accessories after the fact, it's entirely up to you in a sense of do you want to include those sort of things in the build or not, like a figurine or a graphics card support bracket. So I will not be including that in the final price. Now I will include I'm going to focus on one of the fans here real quickly. You're going to see the figurine in the build in question. So the fans here, I do have these connected to what's known as a RGB PWM fan hub. And it is by Cooler Master, and that I believe the MSRP for that one, the one that I have, is $25. And to repeat this one more time, the currencies I reveal here are United States. So that way no one is thrown off for whatever reason. So with that all out of the way, now the grand total, like I said, it is a greater fluctuation due to changing pricing for certain components. So the lowest total here, I actually have to get my numbers really quickly because I had scratched a lot of this out like repeatedly. So the lowest number is going to be around 2,428 for everything you see here. That's the lowest end. The highest number, though, is going to be around $2,703. So this is about a $2,700 build, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I just want to make sure, people are aware this is a more expensive build due to the very, component pricing, all that good stuff. And it is worth every penny I spent on it. And this is one of those builds I'm actually really proud of, to be honest with you. And I do want to reiterate something from a previous video. And some people are going to be screaming at me in the comment section. Now, with these two fans here, they have been flipped since I took the picture. They are being set as exhaust at the top. So take this particular part with a grain of salt, because they have been flipped. Just a bit of a friendly for your information. So I'm just glad, I can reveal, certain pricing for Raiden. Part 3 is going to be Odin in the sense of like the MSRP, if you were to build it exactly how you see it, what you're going to be getting, how much you're expected to pay. So the numbers for Raiden, I am excluding tax and all the other stuff because that way no one's really taken by surprise by it. Like I said, I have a couple of other videos that I have already filmed. This is going to be one of those other ones where I filmed it in advance, and I won't be posting this and the other two until tomorrow. The reason being is just that I had some emergency stuff come up the last, earlier today, so it's like, I'm doing a bit of a mental health day in the sense of, posting. So I appreciate your guys' understanding on the matter, and I thank you all for your understanding in advance. So with that, like I said, part 3, I don't know when I'm going to be filming it. It is going to be Odin, the workhorse build. And for the record on Raiden, since of the amount of storage, Raiden has the most amount of storage between the 3 builds. However, due to certain other components, Odin is the most powerful. So that is that on that. So with Wolvie here signing off, I will catch you all on the flip side.